Flat earther and logical fallacy in human form, Brian's logic made another attempt to disprove the globe. Unable to demonstrate a flat earth, he was however able to demonstrate his complete and utter lack of understanding in most of what he spoke about, as well as the lengths that flat earthers are willing to go to just try and stick to their ridiculous belief. Let's take a look.
Well, how are you doing? Okay, this video is going to be called More Lake Problems. Right, for the globe.
Straightforward title, check. Truthful title.
Okay, I'm going to focus, I'll be focusing on this, right, building, okay. It's the Marriott, the New Orleans Marriott Metairie, sorry, at Lakeway. Elevation 123 meters.
So we're looking at the New Orleans Marriott Hotel on the shore of Lake Pontchartrain. So despite this very lake and the bridge that spans across it being used to successfully prove Earth curvature multiple times, you still want to try to do this, Brian? Sake, at least pick something new. I'm already getting a little bored. Flat earthers have just shown how wrong they are using this very location too many times to count, and many on our side of the argument have used it to prove Earth curve. So let's just speed Brian up a bit to try and get through this quickly.
So that is his top, at the very top of it up here where they have water tanks or whatever the hell else they have up there. That is the top height of it, 123 meters.
Okay, height of 123 meters. Carry on.
Yeah, there is a building in front of it here. There's another building in front of it here. I think maybe another part, I'm not sure, could be the car park. But that is elevation 12 meters, 10 meters, 12 meters, right? So that will, what's its top? 54 meters is its top height.
Here's a quick side view of what we're talking about. As you can see, the tallest building at this location is the hotel itself. Here is the smaller building that Brian mentioned in front.
So that will, if you're viewing this building here from the lake, that will cause visual occultation. Okay, I'll see if I can show you what I mean.
Generally, occultation is an astronomical term to describe when the view of an object is completely hidden as another object passes in front of it. As a side note, when this happens but does not completely conceal the further object, it's called a transit. I know that flat earthers love to try and use big words to just make themselves feel smart and maybe try to impress it upon the gullible that starts to flock towards their cause, but maybe they should get a fucking clue before they do so. Really, all Brian's trying to say is that the building closest to the water will obscure part of the larger building behind it when viewed from the lake. That's pretty fucking obvious, Brian. Twat.
I don't use Google Earth that much, so excuse me. I don't use it that much, so that's not fun. So you have to excuse the slowness. Okay, just spin it around. Let's hope I'm not making anybody sick. Don't want to do that. Go back. So the whole point, if I can go down further without trying to go to some kind of a street view. Alright, there we go. Well, that'll do. Actually, that's exactly what I want. So as you go back here, so as I go back, sorry, no, as you can see, that you won't see all of that building because the building in front of it, even though it's a lot smaller, it is occulting a certain amount of it. So as you go back at a distance, the whole point is you won't see all of this building here. Okay, you see only if it depends on where you are, you might only see only this much of it. Just
how fucking numb do you think your viewers are, Sunshine? Or is it that you're in such desperate need of validation that you try to make yourself feel smart, ironically by making ironically by doing things that make you look really dumb?
But the point is that I'll get to you in a minute why I'm focusing on it. Okay, let's do this now. Okay, so here we have Metabunk, right? So here we have a distance of 12 miles away from that building. This is within the globe model. A viewer height in feet, 15 feet, right, at 12 miles away. You will have a geometric hidden of 35.12 feet and a refracted hidden of 27.03 feet. But here we have, down here, Nick West has put in this pure angular size results. This is completely utter nonsense. There is no angular or anything on the globe model.
Actually, Brian, there are many angular things on the globe, one of them being angular size. Did your brain get overheated trying to equate a 2D image with 3D reality again? You utter bellend.
Because he completely contradicts, like Metabunk and Nick West completely contradict themselves down here. Because there is no angular size. It doesn't exist within the maths. Within the official globe or mathematics, there is no angular size, there is no perspective. It's all orthographic, right?
It's really not. With this, though, we're only interested in distances along the X and Y axes. So an orthographic view works just fine. However, if you think that all calculations on the globe side are two-dimensional, then you're a bigger fool than I thought. Seriously, you absolute fucking moron. Go back to school.
Here we have, this is it here, right? Here we go. That is the official globe mathematics.
No, that's just mathematics that we can use to work out how much of an object is hidden by the curvature of the Earth. There are so many other things that we can calculate in regards to the globe. And funnily enough, they can be applied to other things too. Probably why it was never named globe mathematics, you think?
It's all, there is no angular size accounted for here. You're talking distance point to point, distance over arc, you have sagitta, you have distance on the side, you know, you have radius, all these things. This is all orthographic. This is what the globe is. There is no angular size of anything on the globe earth.
Let's see if I can help you here, because I'm starting to pity you. All right, blue sky, green grass, lovely. Object, viewer 1, and we get an angular size of about 30 degrees. Now for viewer 2. From this distance, we get an angular size of 14 degrees. Now, Brian, we can use an orthographic view to describe this, but that doesn't mean that it's not happening in real life. Now, just to try and help you out, here's what those angular resolutions look like in comparison from the perspective of the viewer. Do you understand yet, Brian?
Mick West has been adding this in simply because, in reality, we have angular sizes. We have perspective in reality.
I'd actually guess that Mr. West added it because it's a handy bit of info to have without being too hard to add, really, because, you know, we've got all the data that we need. Or it may have been requested by someone, or it's just, you know, anything else as simple as that. Despite what you idiots think, people don't do things to try and keep you flat earthers in the dark. If anything, we're trying to fucking help you, Treacle.
But this is globe mathematics. All globe mathematics are orthographic. They are not perspective. They are hijacking of perspective. That's what they are. Anything to do with angular size or angular anything has nothing to do with this. Angular everything is all perspective view. It's not orthographic. You know, sometimes people might try and show what it would look like in orthographic maths. Even the angular size calculators, I think that a lot of them try and calculate it orthographically, but you will not get it correct like it should be unless it's in perspective.
And there we have it. Another proof that Brian's logic has no understanding of mathematics or even reality whatsoever. As long as the measurements are correct, Brian, the calculations are correct. It's that fucking simple.
Because there is no angular size change orthographically. Everything stays the same size. So the globe earth belief is orthographic. At all times it's orthographic. There is no, the maths are not talking about belief of maths. There is no perspective view. There is no perspective in general on the globe earth.
Angular size doesn't exactly rely on how it's shown in a diagram, and angular size certainly can be represented in orthographic view as demonstrated.
So I don't know what Mick West is doing with these angular size results up here, as there is nowhere down here where angular size of anything is taken into account.
I think I see the problem. Because Mr. West hasn't added a representation of the object on the diagram, at least not yet, you think that angular size doesn't exist on the globe. This is why you're not allowed to play with sharp objects, Brian. It's taken into account in the data. We don't always need a diagram to demonstrate reality, you fucking idiot. Most of us are able to work out what people are trying to show from the actual calculations and results themselves.
There is no angular size of anything taken into account. Everything is deemed to be its actual size.
That's because angular size isn't needed to decide how much of an object is hidden by Earth curvature. We only need to know the height of the object and the viewer, the distance between them, and occasionally the refractive index if that information is available.
So on a globe earth, there should be 368.38 feet of the Marriott Hotel visible from 12 miles away. But on a horizontal plane, there should only be 0.36 degrees visible, making the horizontal plane observation the only winning observation, as angular size change is not part of the mathematics for the globe model. Why am I showing all this? Not just to point out where there has to be 368 feet of that hotel visible on the globe, right? It's because there is an 8-mile stretch in the centre of the Lake Pontchartrain causeway, and that 8-mile stretch, for that 8-mile stretch, or a good portion of it, you can't see land, right? So if 0.36, something that's 0.36 degrees in the distance, with all the heat and everything else, you would be lucky to see maybe a bit of it at halfway across the causeway, if you could, right? That is if there wasn't a lot of density of air and water vapour. But I mean, that is in New Orleans, you know, it's Louisiana, isn't it? So that is renowned for having a lot of heat and a lot of kind of swampy type conditions. So I don't know if you could definitely see the 0.36 degrees, but the point is there is no way you wouldn't see 368 feet of a hotel.
So now you're comparing a measurement of feet and a measurement of degrees. I mean, fuck's sake, Brian. I don't even know what to say. Normally, if you want to compare something, you know, especially if you're trying to explain it to people with the intelligence of you, or even worse, less, it'd be helpful for them if you did it in the same unit of measurement. I can't even be asked to tell you what this is, because as you lot say, do your own fucking research. I will tell you that 0.36 degrees is about 21 times the angular resolution of the eye, I believe, because the eye is 0.017 if I'm not mistaken. So depending on the conditions, you should be able to see it. Now, details won't be too clear, and it can even merge with close proximity buildings due to diffraction limited angular resolution, for example. However, you could always use a camera with a zoom or a telescope or something to look at it. Then you're kind of eliminating that aspect of it and able to demonstrate that it's Earth curve that hides the bottom. Perspective does not make things disappear from the bottom up. To be honest, I don't even know yet if anyone has been able to capture some video of the hotel from the middle of the bridge or not. I really can't be bothered to check. So, you know, if it's out there, let me know. But yeah, not gonna lie, I am struggling with the sheer amount of dumb in this video. There is one more thing I would quickly like to address though. Brian, you keep trying to talk about the 7/6R diffraction as a globe killer. This is just a standard measurement for refraction above the horizon. It does not affect anything besides how the light travels, really. Like, the buildings don't change their actual size, etc. There's no magic at play. Seriously, educate yourself. You are bringing the IQ of the world down. Join me after this video on my live stream. Maybe we'll destroy some more flat earthers, and I'll see you beautiful bastards there.
I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints, money, clout, and fame.